And in Los Angeles, anything goes.
Seen in the movies.
So this is what our publicist does. They practically anointed you as the medical gangster of love.
L.A. Doctors, CBS Tonight.
To do next in the Republicans' effort to remove the president. This comes after the final closed-door questioning of the last witness. A life-and-death twist to a murder case. With one man sentenced to die for the crime, another man confesses. And watch your language, don't cuss. This man did, and he could wind up in jail.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. A crucial turning point is at hand in the impeachment trial that could remove President Clinton from office. The Republican-controlled Senate meets tomorrow to decide what to do next. Anything from more witness testimony, live or on tape, to whether and how to end this trial. Today, House Republican prosecutors officially questioned what is supposed to be their last witness. CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer has new information about what Sidney Blumenthal did and did not say. Bob?
Well, Dan, White House aide Sidney Blumenthal told prosecutors that he now believes President Clinton lied to him when he told him that Monica Lewinsky was a stalker who tried to force him to have sex. Now, that is the story that Blumenthal told the grand jury last year, but he denies he ever spread it to reporters in an effort to smear Ms. Lewinsky, and he says he told no one about it, in fact, except his wife and his lawyer. Sources say Blumenthal made the statements during his closed-door deposition to House prosecutors at the Capitol. Asked if he now believed the story the president told him about Lewinsky was a lie, Blumenthal answered yes. Asked if he believed the president had lied directly to him, he again responded yes. The prosecutors are trying to find out if the president allowed Blumenthal to pass on that false story to the grand jurors in an effort to mislead them and smear Ms. Lewinsky. That's one reason House prosecutors are pushing hard for Blumenthal and the others to testify publicly before the Senate.
I believe the public will be well served and history will be well served if we can have what occurred today in front of the public.
Give every senator the opportunity to see what I've seen, the witnesses personally, look them in the eye, gauge their responses.
It will be a hard sell. Democrats are dead set against witnesses.
Live witnesses will do nothing but perpetuate a trial that now nobody wants.
More significant, perhaps, a growing number of Republicans are expressing reservations about witnesses.
I have seen Monica Lewinsky and Vernon Jordan, and I did learn a few new things, at least solidified a few new things from seeing the testimony, and I would not say that we need to have them on the floor.
That, of course, is one of the questions that senators hope to vote on tomorrow, and while sentiment seems to be running against calling witnesses, 28 Republican senators tonight sent the president a letter inviting him to give a deposition. The White House replied the president has already testified. Dan?
Bob Schieffer on Capitol Hill. And then there's the deeper divide over how and when to end the trial. One hotly contested exit strategy is a Republican proposal that would leave the president in office, but only after official so-called, quote, findings of fact are put on the record against him. So just what and just who is behind this idea, and what does it really mean, if anything? We asked CBS's Phil Jones to find the facts for you about these findings of fact. Phil went straight to the source.
Impeachment is overwhelming everything else.
It was Senator Susan Collins, a first-term moderate Republican from Maine, who first talked publicly about a plan called Finding of Fact to keep the president from declaring victory after acquittal. But it's been a hard sell.
There are still too many people on the Republican side that think that what I've proposed is a plan to convict the president but not remove him.
The Finding of Fact proposals being discussed today would not use the legal words cited in the articles of impeachment. Instead of perjury, the president would be accused of willfully providing false and misleading testimony to a grand jury. Instead of obstruction of justice, words like wrongfully engaged in conduct to delay discovery, cover up evidence, and alter testimony in a federal lawsuit would be used. Votes on findings would come before senators voted on the actual articles of impeachment, and it would take only 51 votes to pass.
They want to have it both ways.
The White House has gone ballistic, attacking those pushing the findings idea. Lanny Davis, one of the president's lawyers, even called a Maine radio station to ridicule callers and Senator Collins.
You are frustrated in the minority of hating Bill Clinton, and as a minority of this country, you're willing to subscribe to the unfair kangaroo court process that Senator Collins has proposed.
What would be the constitutional impact of findings? Michael Gerhardt is an impeachment scholar.
That it can be easily confused or understood to be a vote that's tantamount to a vote of conviction. And I think that the Constitution is very clear that a vote of conviction requires at least 2/3 of the senators to agree. Otherwise, there's an acquittal.
Tonight, at least one fact is emerging, and it is finding a bipartisan way out of this mess is highly unlikely. Phil Jones, CBS News, Washington.
Underscoring the view from the president's camp today, one outside advisor to Mr. Clinton said, and I quote, "We are open to a reasonable censure," unquote. One without what they consider to be legally compromising words and words that might be helpful in the future to prosecutor Ken Starr, such as lying or perjury. There's a dramatic update tonight on that case we told you about last evening, the case of a man condemned to die for a double murder and new evidence indicating he may not have done the crime at all. Today, after seeing our CBS News report, another man confessed to the killings. CBS's Cynthia Bowers is working the story in Chicago. Cynthia?
Dan, Anthony Porter has been on Illinois' death row for 16 years now. He was convicted of killing a young couple on Chicago's South Side, a crime he has always said he did not commit. Porter was scheduled to die last September for the murders, but just 48 hours prior to his execution, he was granted a temporary stay because his attorneys thought they could prove he is incompetent. Today, they believe they have proof he is innocent. This morning in Milwaukee, this man, Alstory Simon, confessed to the murders that have kept Anthony Porter behind bars.
Before I knew anything, I just pulled up and started shooting.
Alstory Simon fled Chicago with his wife Inez, who witnessed the killings. She corroborates his story that the murders were over money for drugs. Simon claims it was a case of self-defense.
When you were firing these rounds, what were you thinking? I was thinking of trying to live. I had fear of my life.
If this confession stands, it would be a remarkable turn in an investigation that began as a class project, initiated by a Northwestern University professor and a team of college students, lawyers, and investigators, whose first break came when they found Inez.
Seemed like a burden been lifted off my heart, because I don't want to see an innocent person die for something they didn't do.
It was private investigator Paul Cialino, a member of the Northwestern team, who got Simon's videotape confession this morning.
And about halfway through our interview, we're in his living room. I hear the CBS Morning News, and I knew it's your story from last night. He went over to the TV and he turned it up real loud. And as soon as it was done, I asked him, I said, Al, are you ready to stand up and be counted? And I said, can I take your videotape statement? And he says, let's do it.
Cook County prosecutors say they will reopen Porter's case. Now, when it comes to capital cases, the state of Illinois has a startling record. Since the death penalty was reinstated in 1977, 11 men have been put to death. 9 others have been exonerated and set free. Anthony Porter could be number 10. Dan?
Cynthia Bowers in Chicago. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News. Surprising new findings about a possible cause of heart disease and how to prevent heart disease. Would you buy a fur that had a label describing how the animal was killed? And a good friend of millions of baby boomers is about to hit the big 4-0.
My God.
I can eat corn on the cob, and I can eat the apples as long as I've got super polygrip on these dentures. I know that it works. I mean, it holds my teeth in place. Using the super polygrip, I can continue auctioneering. Bid 35 now, bid 40 now, 5, 45 now, bid.
In hospital pharmacies, they dispense medicines that work fast. For heartburn, that's 1-minute Maalox. It goes to work on stomach acid in 1 minute. Pepcid AC could take over 45 minutes. Hospital pharmacies rely on Maalox. Shouldn't you?
Count on 1-minute Maalox. It's real milk chocolate, chewy caramel, and crunchy nuggets in a scrumptiously delicious bar. fortified with antioxidants, bone-building calcium, and essential protein. The delicious, nutritious Boost Bar. Get your recommended daily allowance of chocolate crunch. Find it next to Boost.
My father's starting a new business, and he's been worried about income because he's not getting any, basically.
So we decided to come in and talk to Robert.
I recommended we talk to our fixed income department to possibly come up with different investment ideas that would be appropriate for them.
I tend to think you're a bit more risky than I like to be.
You know, the world doesn't stop growing just because you retire.
I helped guide them through some of the fixed income investments that were available. Typically, everyone has a common goal of financial security.
And I can feel secure feeling that my father is secure.
There's an intriguing study out today in the Journal of the American Medical Association suggesting common antibiotics may be a useful tool in heart attack prevention. How could this be? CBS's John Roberts has the facts and figures behind this remarkable new theory.
Any chest pain?
This new study presents some of the strongest evidence yet that heart disease may not be so much a consequence of lifestyle as of infection.
There is a particular germ called Chlamydia pneumoniae, which has been implicated in some other studies as possibly being causally related to the risk for heart attack.
Dr. Herschel Jeck compared 3,000 people who had heart attacks with 13,000 who didn't and found those who had taken a type of antibiotic called tetracycline were 30% less likely to suffer a heart attack. Patients who took the new quinolone antibiotics had their risk reduced by 55%.
Possibly because people received these drugs and the organism was eradicated, that essentially decreased their risk for a subsequent heart attack.
Scientists believe the bacteria, which normally causes respiratory infections, gets into the bloodstream and injures the walls of the coronary arteries. In response, the arteries become inflamed, and cholesterol, which normally flows freely, becomes stuck to the walls. Eventually, the artery narrows, fertile ground for blood clots and heart attack.
Did you have some symptoms with that?
Cardiologist Elsa Grace Giardina says heart doctors may be on the edge of a revelation similar to the discovery that most stomach ulcers are caused by bacteria.
Now it's just ordinary to treat peptic ulcer disease with antibiotics. We may end up doing the same thing for coronary artery disease.
But researchers say it's still too early to start prescribing antibiotics to prevent heart disease. And even if the link is conclusively proven, people still need to pay close attention to other risk factors like smoking, blood pressure, and cholesterol levels. Dan?
John Roberts. On the worldwide CBS Market Watch, supporters of the U.S. Telecommunications Act of 1996 said it would lead to lower cable TV rates. But a consumer coalition reported today rates have actually gone up 21%. Goodyear is buying into Japan's Sumitomo Rubber Company. That'll make Goodyear the world's largest tire manufacturer. And the Federal Reserve left interest rates unchanged today to the delight of Wall Street.
Finally, intelligent life in auto insurance. Visit Progressive.com. Buy online for extraordinary savings. And remember, buckle up.
What? You got more than me.
Honey Nut Quaker Toasted Oatmeal, crisp oatmeal flakes, clusters, and honey roasted almonds. You haven't wanted a cereal this badly since you were a kid.
1010-220 gives you the freedom to call anywhere in the U.S. and Canada for only 99 cents for all calls up to 20 minutes. Now 1010-220 offers savings around the world. Call most of Europe and it's just $1.99 for all calls up to 10 minutes and only 19 cents a minute after that. All day, every day. Call Mexico and it's only $2.99 for up to 10 minutes and just 34 cents a minute after that. 1010-220. Great savings all over the world.
Tonight on KOIN 6 News at 6.
Today was the first day of the new road rage law. Were there any arrests? We'll take you along for the ride with Gresham Police tonight on KOIN 6 News at 6.
President Clinton's top military advisors were out making the case today for possibly sending U.S. ground troops to the Kosovo section of what used to be Yugoslavia. Defense Secretary Bill Cohen told Congress a, quote, relatively small U.S. force would be essential to help enforce any agreement between Serbia and ethnic Albanian rebels. U.S. Joint Chiefs Chairman Hugh Shelton said that could mean 2,000 to 4,000 Americans in a NATO force of 20,000. In the Italian Alps today, a busy ski resort shut down for a solemn anniversary, a memorial to the 20 skiers who died a year ago when a low-flying U.S. Marine aircraft accidentally cut the cable on a ski lift. A year later, all concerned are still waiting for closure and justice, and in some cases, money. CBS's David Martin reports.
The faces of the relatives of the 20 skiers who died show that a year has done little to ease the pain. Nor has a year done much to make good on a Marine Corps recommendation to pay all proper claims for death and property damage. A lawyer for some of the victims' families says they're getting a runaround.
The U.S. position is it's not going to make any restitution. The claims have to be made against the government of Italy. That's an 8 to 10 year process.
Justice will be swifter than that. The court-martial of Captain Richard Ashby, the pilot of the jet which severed the cable, is scheduled to begin tomorrow. But is he the real culprit? The families were sure he was out for a joyride.
What they did was just like a bunch of American cowboys who are somewhere in another country and think they are playing a game with a joystick.
A Marine Corps investigation also blamed Ashby, but he says he's a scapegoat.
Mistakes were made, and that's obvious. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. But they weren't all our mistakes.
This computerized simulation shows what Ashby saw just before he severed the cable. He told 60 Minutes' Mike Wallace that until that moment, he had no idea it was there.
It's not on the map.
Are you sure that it was not on your map?
I am 100% sure it was not on my map.
Still, the plane was 600 feet lower than it was supposed to be, and Ashby has a lot of explaining to do. What happened to a videotape taken by his navigator?
The only actual tape, including soundtrack, of the flight has disappeared. I can't imagine why that was done except to conceal evidence.
But if the families are hoping Ashby will be found guilty and sentenced to life, they could be disappointed. The officer who recommended the court-martial already has warned a conviction is in substantial doubt. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, new designer labels that could give a whole new meaning to the phrase fashion victim.
This is your nose with nighttime nasal congestion. This is your nose with a Breathe Right nasal strip. Breathe Right lifts open your nasal passages with a simple spring-like action, which helps to relieve nighttime nasal congestion. Breathe Right. All night.
Imagine a world without moisture. For millions of people with dry, scratchy eyes, this is how their world feels. Now there's new Visine Tears for dry eyes, with a unique tears formula not found in other leading brands. Visine Tears soothes dry, scratchy eyes and makes them feel moist and comfortable in seconds. And is safe to use as often as you need. Discover a world of comfort with new Visine Tears. It gets the dry out.
One word convinced me an herbal could help maintain my cholesterol health. Centrum.
One word told me there's an advance in herbals for energy.
For my prostate, I'm taking the only herbal backed by Centrum Science.
Introducing Centrum Herbals. Some other brands can be missing natural ingredients because herbals can vary from plant to plant, dose to dose. Only Centrum uses farmer print to guarantee a more complete herbal every time.
One word can help make a difference in your health.
6 individual Centrum Herbals, naturally more complete.
At Boston Market, you can build your own meal for a price you'll love, such as a whole chicken for just $5.99. Add any 3 orders of our classic sides, just 99 cents each. All this for less than $9. So take home Boston Market tonight.
What's the difference between Pillsbury cinnamon rolls and prepackaged? Wake up up to Pillsbury cinnamon rolls.
Nothing compares. Woo-hoo!
Tonight on 60 Minutes 2. Before you invest in America's hottest stock, you might want to meet the nerd behind Amazon.com. And you will. Tonight.
Well, here's something you don't see every day, even in China. It's an endangered giant panda cub coming off the luggage conveyor belt of an airplane. The 6-month-old cub came from Sichuan, where he lived with his mom, to the zoo in Shanghai to live with his panda dad. But not until he gets used to his new handlers and surroundings. And now here's a story about something you've never seen before. It's a proposed fur coat consumer label. It has nothing to do with caring for the garment. CBS's John Blackstone says it's all about how it got to be a garment.
In the fur stores of Beverly Hills today, people were grateful for the sacrifices made by small animals in the name of beauty and warmth.
These are the finest pelts. These are so lightweight and silky, and that's what a Beverly Hills woman wants.
But soon, furriers in Beverly Hills may be forced to put new tags on their garments that could be even more shocking than the price tags. The new labels would give disturbing details about how the animals may have died.
Electrocution, neck breaking, gassing, poisoning, clubbing.
Luke Montgomery is with an animal rights group that is asking Beverly Hills voters to pass an initiative that would require the warning labels on all furs sold in the city.
This is not about banning fur or giving animals any rights. It's about giving consumers the right, to make up their own mind.
The animal rights group showed the Beverly Hills City Council a videotape about the difficult life and death of fur animals, and then the stories told by fur salesmen.
When we talk to Mom, we can assure her that the animals are killed, what would you say, killed?
Humanely. Those behind the initiative call it a consumer protection measure. But at Somper Furs in Beverly Hills, Wanda Somper says few consumers worry about how animals die.
Before we put the bite of chicken in our mouth, do we actually question, by the way, just a second, how did it happen? No.
If the measure passes, Beverly Hill cops may have to mount a pelt posse, worries the city's mayor, Les Bronte.
I really don't want my police department out checking coats in fur salons.
It might be worth noting that on this February day in Beverly Hills, it's 75 degrees, sunny and bright. It would seem that if the furriers of Beverly Hills could sell their products in this climate, no mere warning label is likely to stand in their way. John Blackstone, CBS News, Beverly Hills.
A world-famous fashion trendsetter is about to reach a milestone. The Barbie doll is turning 40. When Barbie debuted in 1959, she cost just $3. If you still have the original brunette in an unopened box, collectors will pay up to $9,500 for it now. And here's how Barbie Millicent Roberts looks at age 40. No plastic surgery, just pure plastic. Coming next on the CBS Evening News, a few choice words and how to get people to stop choosing them.
The CBS Evening News and tonight's Eye on America segment are sponsored by Tylenol. Take comfort in our strength.
No one knows more about the safety of pain relievers than doctors and hospitals. And the pain reliever they choose most? Tylenol. Why? Because doctors know Tylenol is least likely to have drug interactions, and it won't cause stomach irritation the way aspirin and even ibuprofen sometimes can. For over 20 years, Tylenol has been the first choice of doctors and hospitals. When safety matters, Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
It's been hours. How much more can he take?
Sir, you just got Prime Star Satellite TV. Professionally installed. Look, I'm not playing games here. What about the equipment? Prime Star includes the equipment and worry-free service. Then how do you explain this?
Oh, and only Prime Star throws in the monthly program, guys. We got the wrong dish.
Sports, movies, and more. Now only $49 installed. Call 1-800-PRIME-STAR or visit your local Radio Shack. When your allergies are a nightmare, you need help. Not just any help. You need the power of Zyrtec. Prescription Zyrtec starts working fast and keeps on working for 24 hours. And Zyrtec works against so many allergies, from cats and dogs to pollen and dust. So when allergies are a nightmare, and when are they not? Remember the power of Zyrtec. In studies, drowsiness was the most common side effect. Others included fatigue and dry mouth. Most side effects were mild or moderate. Most people weren't bothered by them enough to stop taking Zyrtec. To learn more, look for an ad in Life magazine or ask your doctor or pharmacist.
There are about 1 million words in the English language. CBS's Eye on America Tonight investigates the growing preference for those made up of just 4 letters. CBS's Richard Schlesinger reports what's being done to change that in the courtroom and the classroom.
People swear at each other all the time.
Most parents have fought and lost the battle Jim O'Connor has taken on.
And so for extra emphasis, they use the F word.
He's trying to get kids to watch their language.
You remember the list, and we're going to talk about alternatives for this.
Cursing comes naturally to most people. O'Connor is trying to teach kids...
You're not communicating when you use these words. You look like
how and when not to curse.
Has anybody noticed that you swear less since you heard this class the first time? No?
O'Connor may well be cursed with bad timing while he's trying to teach these kids to watch their language.
Fiddlesticks. If you're really mad, you'll say something worse.
Professor Timothy Jay is finding more people than ever are swearing. He's written about it and has some surprising news.
Women are swearing more in public. Children are swearing more at school. They're saying worse things than they've ever said before, and they're swearing earlier than they ever have.
O'Connor tries to get his classes to substitute different words for dirty words.
Holy Chicago.
Like the S word.
We were shooting the...
Breeze.
I'm in deep...
Trouble.
It's easy for kids to laugh at all this, but in Indiana, one school principal announced a ban on all swearing. He threatened to suspend students who curse, and it worked. Students cleaned up their language. School is a lot quieter now.
And Timothy Boomer learned adults have to watch their language as well, at least in central Michigan.
We were just up north on a canoeing trip that my friends planned.
When the canoe tipped over, Boomer had a few choice words for his friends.
Up the river here, around the bend, we heard a large group of people coming, yelling and screaming.
And that's how he met Deputy Sheriff Ken Sosha.
What words was he using?
The F word, calling these girls, the B word.
Sosha gave Tim Boomer a ticket for violating a state law outlawing the use of obscene language in the presence of women or children. It's a 101-year-old law, but the local prosecutor is hell-bent on pushing this case.
If everyone knew that by doing it, they're committing a crime that just might be prosecuted, maybe they won't do it.
Boomer could get a $100 fine or 90 days in jail.
Do we want a slap on the wrist? I think we want a little bit more than a slap on the wrist. What would be fair, that's up to a judge.
Boomer has already been before the judge. He's hoping to get his case dismissed. This time, though, he let his lawyers do the talking.
Yes, Your Honor.
For Eye on America, I'm Richard Schlesinger in Standish, Michigan.
And that's part of our world, by golly. Later tonight on 60 Minutes 2, meet the man behind Amazon.com, the red-hot internet stock that's turned a lot of investors on the internet into zillionaires. Also tonight, after his first appearance on 60 Minutes, this con man wound up in solitary. Mike Wallace catches up with him on 60 Minutes 2. That's tonight at 9, 8 Central Time here on the CBS television network. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. I'll see you again either at 9 or 8 on 60 Minutes 2.